Hey, good morning everyone. We are starting on a brand new project. This is one that we are like over the moon excited about. This is a gentleman that I met several times at Workbench Con. Vicki and I met him, listened to some of his classes that he put on at Workbench Con. You guys know him, Mike Montgomery with Modern Builds. He's got a huge channel. He's a big influencer, super nice dude. Again, I met him a couple times at Workbench Con. I reached out to him. He said absolutely, and he'd love to have a sign. So this is what we plan. We're going to do something a little bit different than what we've done before. This is a board that we got from our buddy, our guys over at Reclaim Secrets. This is a piece of Spaulted Pecan. Normally I'm not a fan of pecan, but look at the grain in this thing. So we did the layout, the transfer, the inkjet transfer, then we put a couple coats of the Rust-Oleum clear on just to make sure it's not going to rub off when we're routing it. But I love the grain on this thing. I just think it's just a spectacular board, and we want something spectacular for Mike. So we're going to do some routing on this. We're going to do some power carving and maybe some other stuff beyond that. So anyway, this board, by the way, I want to go over with you guys real quick. I don't want to go into a long drawn out thing, but this board is one that Andrew and Shane had left over from a job, and we cut the end of it off. You can see that this is the end of the board here, and it had resin on it. It was completely covered with resin with a shield on it. So I had to, I wanted to use this. I cut it off. I wanted to use this to kind of play around with it just to make sure it was going to work for me. So I sanded this part off. This is what it looked like originally. This was this whole board. And now that the clear is on there, it kind of matches that a little bit. But trust me, I had to sand a lot of resin off of there. That's where my disc sander came into play. But another thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to see how it was going to react to power carving. Being pecan, pecan's very, very hard, but this is spalted pecan, so it's much softer. I think it's going to be a lot of hard, soft, and then I wanted to see kind of how it would route, so I just cut some grooves in there with my profile bit in different areas. So this really gave me an idea of what to expect on this big board. So if you guys have something like that, definitely keep your scraps for, you know, and play with them and test those so you get an inkling of what you're going to be working on when you do your big sign. I always try to do that because I don't want any surprises if I can help it. Anyway, that's about it, guys. We'll come back and we're going to jump right into the carving. So the first thing I'm going to do is everything that is black is going to be outset. So I'm using my profile bit. I'm not going too deep yet because I want to get all my detail done with my profile bit. But nothing is small enough that I have to use the carving liner. I'm using the profile bit for this operation. So if you look at these circles, guys, we have actually 1, 2, 3, 4 different cuts that you have to make. And to do concentric circles like these in a board that is soft, hard, is like your nightmare scenario. And this was really tough. So you've got to go shallow to start with and then go back and clean everything up. So definitely, if this happens to you on any soft, hard type of material, start shallow and work your way down. So I lied. I did actually use a carving liner on here, but because I was doing some of the easier carving first, normally I would start with anything that has the carving liner, but because I didn't know how this board was going to cut, I saved the harder stuff until I really had a feel for this board. But now I'm using the carving liner and I'm doing those really thin lines inside the saw blade at 1/8 of an inch deep, and I gotta tell you, it was tough. So now that I've got my initial cut done at 1/16 inch with the carving liner on these thin lines inside the blade, then now I'm going back and I'm cutting it with the profile bit to widen those lines up and smooth out any bobbles. And this took me actually 3 passes with the profile bit, going a little bit deeper each time. I think up to about 1/8 of an inch deep. Okay, so I went 1/4 of an inch deep with the 1/8 inch spiral. Now I'm going back with a 1/4 inch spiral, and I'm just going to widen that same line again at 1/4 of an inch deep so that those two pretty much match. It's not that critical because we're going to power carve beyond this 1/4 of an inch deep anyway. On the outside of the circle, we got to take that all down to 1/4 inch so that when we go back to do our power carving, we've already got 1/4 of an inch material. So when you're doing something like this, you want to work from the outside in because your base plate needs something flat to ride on. So you put the pressure for the base plate on the part that is sitting on solid wood. So if you work from the outside in, you'll always, like on this situation, you'll always have something flat to press down on when you're doing your flat bottom, so you'll have consistent flat bottom. Hey guys, all right, so we've got all of the router work done. We've got all the carving done, and then everything is flat to 1/4 of an inch. Now we're starting the power carving. So the first thing I want to do is get all the detail stuff done first. So I got to get in these really tight areas. I'm going to use the cut-saw. You guys know we mostly use all cut-saw, and I'm going to use the original coarse taper. And this one really works well for getting in these tight areas. The problem that you really have to worry about is when you come and you're doing this, is that your back edge doesn't catch your the bottom side of your letters there. So that's what we have to be. So you have to kind of flip it around. But what we want to do is just kind of put, kind of like what we do with our router bits, we want to put a buffer zone around. So I'm going to do this part right here, that O, and just kind of go around the edge of the letter on the inside, because we don't want that thing to just look flat. I want that thing to have a texture, but just kind of go around all the edges of the letters and the edges of the outset stuff, so that it kind of looks a little bit more three-dimensional. So now that I've got all that fine work done, now I want to go back and put texture all the way around inside the circle. So the first thing I used was the ball nose original course, and that helped me kind of go around everything and kind of just put an outline to all of the carving. Then I went in with the sphere small course, and that allowed me to really get the texture I wanted. So now that we got everything done inside the circles as far as our texture, our power carving, now we're going to take care of the stuff on the outside. Now what we wanted is we wanted from the surface of the board, we wanted 3/4 of an inch to the outside edge. So what we did, we knew we were already a 1/4 inch deep to the outside edge. We did that with the 1/4 inch spiral upcut. So what we did is we just took a 1/2 inch beyond that and made a mark all the way around on all the edges. And then we knew how deep we needed to go with our disc grinder. We used the extreme coarse disc first and went down to that mark. So we knew we were 3/4 of an inch from the surface to the outside edge. Then we went back and we smoothed it out with the medium. And we love the way it came out. All right, guys, here's the part I've been looking forward to. My beautiful assistant, you can see her Vanna hands there, is pouring this on. Now what we're doing is we've got, this isn't penetrating epoxy, this is the regular epoxy, and we're putting a skim coat or just a brush coat just to seal this thing up. I'm hoping that one coat will do it, but it's possible that we might need a second seal coat, because this spalting on here, as you guys know, that is basically rotting wood, and there's parts that is pretty porous. So I want this thing sealed up when we go to the flood pour, and if it takes, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 seal coats, I'm absolutely fine with that. And as you can see, we're doing the back right now, and I want the thing sealed up all the way around. So again, we'll have to kind of see what it looks like tomorrow after this first coat dries.
Alright guys, so we got the initial coat on this thing. So it wasn't a penetrating coat like Dad said. It's just the flood coat, but it's real thin. Just a skim coat to seal everything up. So now what we got to do, we got to paint. So we're just using the black one shot, and we're going to paint all, sorry, can you see that?
Yep.
Black one shot, and we're going to paint pretty much, we're going to paint everything that's outset, including these tiny little lines here. It's going to be a laborious undertaking. So, a lot of paint. So, let's get to it.
Alright guys, so here's what it looks like after the initial pour. We're getting ready to do the final flood pour, hopefully, if everything goes as planned. So before, I think we said we did 6 ounces, but I think it was 12 ounces. It was 6 and 6. Now we've got, how many ounces now?
8.
8 ounces. And we want to be careful. We want to put most of it around the outside, but some of it on the inside and on the black as well, of course. But anyway, so that's what we're doing now. We kind of roughed it up a little bit, sanding it just with some 220. Do you want me to help?
Do you want to help?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of going up the side
Yeah.
here.
So what have we found as far as the temperature goes that works the best for pouring this stuff? I know
75 to 80 for me.
75 to 80. Okay. If it's more than 80, then it
And we're in deep doo-doo.
we're in trouble. Okay. All right.
You want to do the inside. I mean, if I have any
Yeah.
extra, then I want to push it inside, but
And we already kind of have some on the edges, but make sure those are covered too. Sorry about my arm being in the way there, guys. Yeah, looks pretty good. Not really any foam to speak of on this.
Yep.
Not like last time. And I think you're right. I think that was because of the brushes.
tape.
So the idea that I had here, guys, is I just didn't want to fill this up completely. I've done that before where we filled up that gap completely, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to show that the thing about that is when you do that, heck, it could be a decal or something. It could be a vinyl cut, but I wanted to show that it was that it had depth, that it was carved. So that's the reason I wanted to kind of be careful on putting too much inside the inside circle. And I think we're accomplishing that. Looks good. I think that was just the right amount, babe. All right, you guys. So we'll come back and show you when it's all dried, and we'll see what it looks like.
Who starts?
Hey guys,
I ruined it. That was my bad.
hey guys, guess what? We met up with Mike Montgomery. We made him a couple signs. Check this out.
3, 2, 1.
Boom.
Come on.
Boom.
We got two
Look at
different
that.
styles here. We've got one, what do you call it? Outset.
Outset.
We got an outset carved Modern Builds logo on Spaulted Pecan with live edges, which is freaking cool. It's gonna be a little bit of a secret. It'll be on the wall. People won't even know that it's got a live edge. And then this one
And then
is a
this
gift from
one-
my dad,
Yeah. No,
which
go
I'm
ahead.
so grateful for. I know he's gonna be crazy excited for this. So my dad served in the Marines 8 years, and
Yeah.
they made, I didn't, I can't take any credit, y'all killed it. What would you call it? Just the freaking logo, it's the Marine Corps emblem.
Yeah, it's
the
the
seal.
USMC logo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you guys know what we do. You know, this is going to show on our channel, but in case you don't know, we freehand carve all of these by hand with a router, and we've got over 1,800 videos that shows you how to do it.
Yep.
So go check out the channel if you're curious.
Eric, you did this one?
I did.
Ryan, you did this one?
Yep, I did the Marine one.
All right, well check them out, guys. And also, find me. I'm at Modern Builds. You
Modern
always got to
Builds.
plug yourself.
Yeah,
That's right.
you guys,
Always be promoting.
you guys know who he is. I have no doubt about that. But,
Genuinely though, thank you guys. This is like
Yeah.
one of the nicest gifts anyone's done. And the coolest part is I get to gift a gift.
That's right.
But it's not regifting. It's on purpose.
Yeah.
Like if I was regifting,
Yeah, don't give that one.
you're like, guys, I made you this sign. Why'd you just give it to someone else? You're like, no, this was the part of the plan the whole time. So anyways,
No,
thank
awesome.
you guys.
Well,
Yeah.
we sure appreciate you meeting with us, man, and hanging out with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Bring it in.
Cool.
Boom.
All right,
Boom.
brother.
What if I
Good.
just dropped?
Cool.
Tragedy.
Yeah.
That would suck.
All right, so we get.